Okay, looks like we are live on the air for a Tuesday night. Let me just get things set up. Got to do the old pop out the chat so I can see what's happening. Nobody in the chat yet, so we'll just get that set out. Oh, and Venice, how are you doing? Good evening to you. Let me just change the settings on chat so I hopefully see anything. And hello, Miss Foxification. Nice to see you. I'll work out some of the stuff my computer's doing. Super weird. Okay, fine. Okay, no, we're good. My laptop was doing strange things, but now I think I've got it under control. All right, okay. I just knocked something over, but that's okay. Hey, Shelf Warmer, how's it going? Ah, all right. I just dropped something on the floor. I'm trying to pick it up with my feet. So, yes, just back from my physio, and look, I can bend my arms. Hello, Catherine. Nice to see you. You may. I'm down to how unbalanced is. I think I've done my shirt up wrong. I thought, why is my collar? So here's the sexy bit of the show where I adjust my buttons. There. Had to take my shirt off for the physio, and I've come straight from my physio appointment, and I buttoned up my shirt. I actually kind of suspected that when I was in the office that I had buttoned up my shirt wrong, but I didn't pay that much attention, so that's the exciting. That's the striptease portion of the show, which is probably more than anyone wanted to see. So. Huawei didn't even have any stripper music playing for that. Isn't it weird how particular bits of music become known? I wonder when's the first time that music got associated with strippers. And thanks to Benny Hill, whenever you do chase things, people expect to hear yakety sax, which is the name of that Benny Hill chase music. If you didn't know what's happening, that one goes. That's yakety sax. Things that pop into my head. Hey, Charlie. Well, the extent of the striptease was I realized I'd buttoned up my shirt wrong, and I had done button rebutton. Charlie, the song's literally called The Stripper. Okay, that's nice. Ah, that's right. Catherine, the Full Monty made You Can Leave Your Hat On a real stripper song. Although, I think that what they were actually copying, wasn't it, in 9.5 Weeks, one of the sexy scenes in 9.5 Weeks was to You Can Leave Your Hat On. I think the stripper was composed on the xylophone. I like that. This is good. Frank, no, I haven't talked about the kiss tattoo yet. Comparing to the 7-Eleven fires. I mean, for those who don't know what Frank's talking about, there's a typical bit of Trump ridiculousness posing with some bikers for Trump, because he's having some fight with the Harley Davidson company because his fucking trade war, steel tariffs are going to make Harleys too expensive to make in America, so they're going to move some of their operations offshore. And so he's saying that makes Harley bad. And so here's these bikers saying they're on Trump's side and they're anti-Harley. And it's just like, no, dude. And so, some said one of the key ones has Nazi tattoos. In fact, I think of all the ones who posed with Trump, if they were made to take their shirts off, I think you would see more than one Nazi tattoo. So, but typical Trump bullshit means nothing, has no repercussions. Nothing means anything anymore. You know, why give a fuck? Hey, Tara, how's it going? You know, my beard's all skew-if. Never get my beard to behave. It's never symmetrical. Always goes off to one side. Like if I grow my hair long, my hair curls. So yeah, Venice, you saw someone get a Kmart tattoo. People who get branded tattoos weird me out. Why would you permanently muck yourself with a brand of commercial product? It's super weird. Monster energy drink seems to be a big one. Lots of stupid white boys mainly getting the Monster logo tattooed and without being paid for it. It's very weird. Tara, been awesome learning about Audacity. Oh, nice. Sorry, Charlie. You knew go ahead of the 4X man for fucking Queensland. Yes, 4X is a Queensland beer for those who don't know. Hey, Prop Wolfie, how's it going? I mean, you know, if some corporate entity was paying me a fortune to have a tattoo of their logo, maybe. But you get all these idiots who get logo tattoos just to get them. It's like, what is that about? Oh, Catherine, any worse than tribal tattoos? As the trouble with trendy tattoos, and tattoos do go through trends. Stuff that's spot on. See, because I guess maybe because I've got a Celtic background, I quite like Celtic designs, and you know, in the 90s, they were very big, and now they're regarded as uncool, and it's it's a bit of a shame if they go out of fashion because yeah, they're permanent. No, Catherine, I actually don't have any tattoos. When I were young, uh, uh, tattoos were still a bit of a rebellious thing to do. Piercings started to get big when I was young, and I had lots of piercings and lots of tattoos. I mean, I had my ears pierced. That was it. I never got any tattoos. Now these days, because tattoos have moved so much into the mainstream, people get really over the top tattoos. I'm preserving my pristine canvas, basically, with no tattoos. Sure, former monster tattoo and wraparound sunglasses and a no fear signet. Oh yeah, Japanese or Chinese tattoos or Hebrew, basically any language that you're not fluent in is potentially a very big mistake to get the tattoo, because the chance of it either meaning nothing or meaning something bad are very high. Hey, Emperor Sigurd and Toby, nice to see you. We're grooving along here. My favorite thing about trendy tattoos, Catherine, as you said, um, you know, tribal tattoos look bad now. I saw this quite funny web comic of a vampire complaining about how hard it is to fit in when you've been around for centuries or millennia. And he's going like, look, I've got a tribal tattoo. Do you know why? Because I was in a fucking tribe. But now everyone thinks I'm a douchebag because I have a tribal tattoo. But I had it when I was actually in a tribe. She's like, hey, Joel, how's it going? Ah, you're still reveling in your new high-powered laptop, Frank. Nice, nice. Ah, Catherine, I think old people with tattoos. I've seen, because that is the old saying, like, oh, you don't want to get a tattoo. What'll it look like when you're old? But I think I've seen some really good photo spreads of old people, like people, you know, 70s, 80s with tattoos. I think they look cool myself, but that's just me. Oh, shelf warmer. I've often thought about a UV tattoo as well. Then yeah, so it's only going to show up when you're in a nightclub with black lights. Yes. Yeah, right, Prop Wolfie. Even good tribal tattoos, you can appreciate them and look good, but you can't help thinking, no, they're a bit, yeah, they're a bit past their time, aren't they? And proceed, you want your resume inked in your skin. I was at various times I've considered getting a tattoo. One I almost got was a barcode, but yes. Charlie, your dad said he'd get a tat after his nana dies, and she's just died. Oh wow, who knows? Maybe you'll do it. Oh, Frankie, some people have incredibly pornographic tattoos. Um, and I mean, honestly, I've seen one or two that are absolutely horrifying. But yes. Ah, sure for me. Your dad's 72 and got a bunch of tattoos in the 60s. Nice. Was he in the services? We go back as far as the 60s. Um, it was it was more common for people who were in the services or even a merchant sailor to get tattoos. Services or even a merchant sailor to get tattoos. Oh no, Toby, CK's in hospital. He had a seizure. I hope he gets better, man. I didn't know he was prone to seizures. I hope they're looking after him in the hospital. Oh god, Venice tattoos that you bogan tattoos yes, going for a ciggy. So what was that? What was that animation on YouTube? Siggy butt breaths. Someone is animated the guys he saw at the bus station. No, Joel, you're buffering. Look, maybe I am. Good old bloody, what do you call it? NBN. Oh no, buffering. Ugh. Okay. I hope it improves. Uh, Emperor Seagut, you only just found out Australians served in Vietnam. Yes, we had conscription during Vietnam. Maybe I should get a cable. Okay. Doing it to everyone. Oh, head's so lopsided. Okay. So it's buffering. So, all right. Okay. I don't know if that's helping. Is that helping? I don't know if successfully connected. Try refreshing. Nothing now. Okay. We're back? Are we back? Is this working? Is this or not? You can see me. It's a little off. You're back. Time travel in slow motion. Okay. I'm still moving like a rail. Oh, why it's so bad recently. All the speed things. Maybe this just isn't going to work. God damn it. Hang on. Am I properly back? I don't know whether to try and reach it. Okay, maybe just refresh. Okay. Okay. So try refresh. If you're still having problems. Bit jittery, but let's push on. 30-second delay. Okay. Second delay. Okay. Yes, Shabby, I think we're all aware of CK's desires. Push it real good. Now I'm signing up for trolls to comprehend. Maybe. Oh, dear. And I've gone again. Okay. Find something that might kill it all together. If all right. Back again. Okay, I'm going to try this. Okay. That might have worked. Okay, that might have worked. I'll pop out the chat again. All right. A bit jaggy, maybe, but all right. Gonna press on. All right. I don't think it's trolls TTSing my internet. I think it's just my internet. Although, you know, who knows? The world is a weird place. All right. So that appears to have helped a bit. Yeah. Okay. It might be still a very low frame rate, but at least it's kind of working. So kill a couple windows. All right, there we go. Good. Now I'm just robot-y. That's okay to do the robot. Yeah. Here we go. That's it. Okay. So Frank said the timing's changed. So you see what I type before you see me typing. That's usually it goes the other way, I think. I don't know. This foxification should power cycle the network hardware weekly. By that, do you mean switch it off and switch it back on again? Good advice, isn't it? Again, look, okay, I work in IT and I find it really fucking embarrassing how often switch it off and switch it back on again actually works. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, you know, you have a smart TV, there's the apps on it, like watch Netflix on the TV. And there's a particular error that it gets sometimes. And the only way to fix it is to unplug the TV and then plug it back in after a while. It's just like, because I don't know, the chip architecture is so shit. Chip architecture is so shit. It gets cluttered, and the only way to straighten it out is to cut off its power supply for a while, so it powers down and everything's on. And then when you power back up, it resets. It's embarrassing that switch it off and switch it back on again actually works as often as it does. But it's just, and this is why people are worried about, oh, AI is going to kill us all, smart robots are going to kill us all. It's like, dude, we can't even make PCs that don't crash. We can't even guarantee internet connections. The idea that we will perfect artificial intelligence to the extent that it will be smarter than us and take over is, well, quite honestly, it's magical thinking. And whenever I sort of diss the whole idea of artificial intelligence and the singularity and robots being autonomous and being smarter than us, I always put it in with a disclaimer like, people who are way smarter than me are quite sure this is going to happen, but quite honestly, there's this big element of magical thinking that goes with it. It's like, how's it going to get there? Oh, just, well, the processors will get faster, and they'll get more memory, and then they'll be smarter. But how? Explain to me how. Because when we can't even accurately describe what human consciousness is, how are we going to create an artificial version of it? We can create simulations, but they're only simulations. Hey, Christian, how are you? Exactly, Chef Warmer. What can we learn from a smart toaster? I love people who are obsessed with having all internet connected devices, like appliances and light switches and door locks. They refer to the Internet of Things. But there's a website called the Internet of Shit, where someone just catalogs all the failures and shortcomings of internet connected devices, and those failings are many. So that means foxification. You're not scared about AI. It's not human or subject to human weakness. You're concerned about what nations will do with AI. You say Putin said whoever perfects AI will run the world. Well, unless they don't, because the big sci-fi thing is always that humans create a true AI that instantly doesn't eat humans anymore. So, yeah. Ooh, nice mystification. Run your own cloud because you're sick of Google spying. Faster, better, no problems. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, if a smart toaster could toast crumpets without burning them, Tara, I'd be all for it. Tendo, who wants all their stuff connected to the internet? Not me. I mean, one of the more ridiculous ones there is, in my opinion, is smart locks that don't have a physical key. And they're like, no, there's like an app on my phone or my smartwatch, and it knows it's me when I get within a certain proximity and automatically unlocks. I mean, until you lose power or your internet connection, and then you can't unlock your door because you don't have a physical a lock landing online. The particular globes they had, the company that made them went out of business, and there's no support for them anymore. So their lights are stuck on the last setting that they had, and they can never change the setting on the lights again. It's like ridiculous. Frankie should ask Cozy whether smart toasters can give you blowjobs. AD would definitely be trying to talk smart appliances into sexual situations. All right, we said Foxfication. Amazon Echo being hacked. It's not even that I'm worried about Amazon Echo being hacked, but whether it's Amazon Echo or Alexa or Google Home or whatever, the idea of voluntarily having a 24-hour surveillance device in your house. Now, I know that technically my smartphone is as well, but theoretically, I can switch off that by design is monitoring you 24/7 and basically recording everything you do, not storing everything you do, but everything you say and do is being monitored via the internet. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't appreciate owning Amazon Echo is a prerequisite to being a douchebag, a gullible douchebag. I was saying, Miss Fox, some of the smart speakers don't have voice ID, so an intruder might be able to yell to open the doors from the outside. Could be, yeah. Probably people are shit with their security on connected devices. Routers, people don't change default passwords, and they don't even realize they're part of a botnet. It's absolutely ridiculous. What people don't do anything with security, and I'm just not on board with it, quite honestly. Yeah. Celtic King wishes he could monitor me 24/7. See, that's what I worry about. If I had one of those internet-connected devices, an over-enthusiastic internet person actually monitoring me 24/7, which is not something I particularly want. So, yeah, I'll let that go. I mean, even um, people who don't realize how much their phone's monitoring, like people criminals who've basically had their phone rat them out. It's like there's the cops. No, I wasn't somewhere, and the cops just get their phone records, and it just tracks. Well, we know exactly where you were and when you were there. So yeah, you're pretty screwed getting rat out by your phone. Okay, Miss Foxification's a hacker. It's going to airdrop a Raspberry Pi onto the roof, hack your Wi-Fi. Yeah, take every home bank accounts. Yeah, I mean, home networks are notoriously insecure. So, yeah. Taro, oh God, you're worried about America. I can understand because the American Border Patrol actually reserves the right to go through your entire computer. There is no security. I mean, God forbid people who go somewhere like China and have a computer that has any corporate secrets on it, that is a recipe for disaster. Was that probably you had a friend who thought password spelt backwards was a strong password? Oh my God. Use a password generator. I have a mnemonic for my passwords. I use a different password for every major platform. And yeah, most of my passwords are 12 or more characters, and obviously a mix of characters in there, numbers, letters, and special characters. And I have a mnemonic to remember them. And it's weird because it was about password generators. I It was from my old internet password for Big Pond, which and this is when it was dial-up, and I had to type the password in every time I connected, and it was a long, complex one. And after doing it uh, for a couple of years, I realized I'd actually memorized this really quite complex password. So I used that as a base with a mnemonic for variety. And So I have different unique passwords that are at least 12 characters long. And yeah, for the right misfoxification, two-factor authentication is a big thing. For my more important social media sites, banking and whatnot, they will have two-factor authentication set up, so you can't change the password without having my phone as well. So Angry Pixie uses misspelled words. That could work too. But if it's just text, there are some brute force attacks that cycle through the entire dictionary really quickly. Yeah, proper Wolfie, old enough to remember dial-up and having to type the password in every single connection. And because I've actually been with Telstra for a stupid amount of time, I've still got this password. Like I said, I never tried to remember it. It's just I realized after a couple of years of typing it in, I knew it off by heart. Yeah, so it actually helps me have quite complex and unique passwords for different platforms. So, yeah, it's not bad at the end. Tara, at work, you memorize the encryption keys the bank secured the ATM network with. Well, that's special. Pure, sometimes at night still hear the old dial-up noise. I don't like the old analog phone systems could be tricked just by sound pitch. There's a famous phone cracker, freaker, hacker known as Captain Crunch, because he worked out the American phone system used these tones that he could reproduce with this cheap plastic whistle that was in Captain Crunch cereal as a giveaway toy. And he could pipe these tones down like pick up a payphone and go, and the phone would think he paid for a long distance call. So he do it. Now I had a friend who swore he could imitate the dial-up handshake well enough to actually get a connection. But I think that was just a joke back in the day about people who were so internet obsessed they could repeat the dial-up handshake and get a connection. So misfoxification. Yubikey has multiple two-factor authentication slots. Oh, nice. Lets you have a long string of random, add a long string of random characters to your password and use it for two-factor authentication at the same time. Nice. Oh, and that's one of the, yes, yeah, misfoxification. You record the sound that the old phones made when you drop coins in and play it down the line, think you drop coins. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak notoriously had one of those black boxes which was used for cracking the phone network, and they actually got pulled over by a cop. And if the cop had worked out what they had, there was a very high chance of them going to jail. And how different would history be if those two went to jail before they ever started Apple computers? But they managed, well, mainly Jobs managed to talk his way around the cop, because the cop was very suspicious of the black box with the lights on it. So I am getting the impression, Miss Foxification, that your childhood was very interesting. You do seem to have quite a breadth of knowledge of hacking and cracking techniques. But yeah, apparently that is a true story about Wozniak and Jobs getting pulled up by a cop when they had a device that would have got them time in federal prison. That would have changed our whole world very severe. I was just thinking something. It's Captain Don Draper. That's his name, and I did actually meet him once at a rave in the 90s. early 90s, phone figure. And I was just looking it up because I think, yeah, he's been called out by a bunch of people for sexually inappropriate behavior. Ugh, I hate that. It's, ugh. Was he? He said he denied some of the allegations and didn't answer others. Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, not a great guy. Not a great guy at all. Ugh, so depressing. Anyway. Oh, it's foxification. If I knew what you knew, I'd never fly in a plane, own a smartphone, or go online ever again. Loft. Oh gosh, there's a name I recognise as well. Yeah, look, I know you're talking about modern infrastructure. Like, okay, all our banking is electronic now, and I know from working in banks how unreliable that is. But like everyone else, I'm just going along on that. Well, hopefully nothing bad happens to me. Um, I remember years ago working with a guy who worked in a bank and watching him when he kept every receipt for every transaction, everything he bought through every ATM receipt, and then every month because he worked in a bank and he and the systems and he had no faith in them whatsoever. And every month he'd sit there with his monthly statement and line by line check because he just systems, and as a result, he didn't trust them at all. Shelf warmer, Kevin Mitnick, he's a fucking snitch. Uh, uh, he. This is the classic thing with people, even when people really are hardcore hackers. Yeah, there's all the lame posers who go, uh, uh, "Oh, I'm an anonymous man. I'm leap hacker," and all that sort of thing. It actually doesn't matter because even the people who are um, really hardcore hackers and know everything about computer security and whatnot, you think they're secure, but then there's the physical world. And Kevin Mitnick got picked up by the feds, and it may not come as a big surprise, but people who act like bad boys in the computer world fold like a cheap suit after 5 minutes in a room with FBI agents interrogating him. And Mitnick basically said, "I'll sell out everyone. Please don't put me in jail." And so that's what he did. He snitched on a whole bunch of people. And he's just one we know about. So all the time when people go, "Man, no one's ever going to get me, man. I've got 10 layers of encryption." And well, first, you're probably talking shit and you're probably not as secure as you think. But B, even if you are, someone in your network of acquaintances isn't as secure, and they're going to get busted and they're going to rat you out because they're just a little weasel. Probably was Mitnick the guy who opened up on Silk Road? No, that was someone else. But Mitnick did turn in some pretty big names. Yes, Miss Foxification. He does work as a white hat these days, theoretically helping people with their network security. But he's always said correctly, human engineering, as in social engineering, will get you into more systems than hacking systems will. People are the weak link. He's gotten into more systems just by talking to people than he has by using any really advanced technical hacks, because people are really gullible and really susceptible to being worked over. So yeah. Yes, that's right, Miss Foxification. Mitnick was the kid who hacked NASA or the NSA when he was very young, just with a phone and whatnot, and got into trouble from a young age, and then got into trouble as an adult. And then I'm going to be good. And then he wasn't good, but then the feds got him, and he snitched on a bunch of people. Corey saying he's immortalized as the Nosferatu Mitnick in Hollywood Underground in the Vampire the Masquerade series. Yeah, and that's the other thing with Foxification. Most hacks on systems are due to exploits who have been installed by someone who worked on a corporate network. Yeah. Uh, I think there was a story that it was about Mitnick, but because he wasn't allowed to tell anyone, he was sort of told it anonymously. And it was fascinating. He was hired to try and compromise the systems on a casino in Las Vegas. And yeah, because that's the big thing. Ooh, casinos, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And because they had all that electronic gambling and whatnot, and they were very paranoid about it. So they thought, we're going to hire this white hat guy to do it. And they thought he was just going to try and brute force into the machines over the internet. But he realized that was too much like hard work. So he actually just hung around in the casino for ages, and he just saw that people, the staff, were incredibly habitual. People did the same thing at the same time in the same way every day. And he stood close enough to people to hear names and whatnot. And so he knew all the names of people and he knew what they were doing. And then one day he just made his move to get through the doors into a secure area. He just went, like, I'm here to see Mike about the thing, and it was something that was expected to happen, and he was let in, so he didn't have to break into the computer network from the outside. He was inside, and and then he just wandered around inside until he saw an unattended computer that didn't have the screen locked, and he just looked up the staff register, got all the names, and worked out the structure that was used for their login names, and then just talked the help desk into resetting the password on the computer. So then he had a password, and so he was gradually working his way through. And he faked up an ID badge because he found the machine that printed the ID badges, and he had it all going, and he was going really, really well until one guy, and it was a guy in security, said, "Hey, you," and and what? And it's like, "What are you up to?" And blah 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 blah. And he's going on, I'm Mike. I just started, and he's going, "No, I know who started. No one started. Who are you? What are you doing?" And he'd been stopped by a whole bunch of people, and he talked his way out of it every time. But this time he couldn't talk his way out of it. This guy's going, "No, no way, no how. I know who's starting. No one by that name was starting." Blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, "Oh, okay, you got me. You're the only one who got me. I've been here a week." And he told him the true story. He said, corporate hired me. They wanted me to break in. You should call Jim Smith. He's the one who's hired me. Da 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 da. And he's going, "Congratulations, man. Like 20 people have talked to me, and I convinced them all I was meant to be here. And you're the first one who hasn't fallen for it." And the guy just went, "Fuck these people. I warned them this would happen. God damn it." And they were in the cafeteria talking or something. He said, "Okay, don't move. Stay here. I'm going to call corporate. I'm going to fucking piss someone." And he walked away from him. And it was a coincidence that he had told the security guy the truth, but the security guy just believed what he told him and then walked away and left him unattended. So if he was a malicious actor, he could have escaped. And it was just like, man, everyone has a weakness. Everyone can be manipulated. And yeah, and then when he showed the degree of the exploit, it scared the shit out of the corporate office. and they basically threatened him. They said, "You went too far. You weren't meant to actually break into the system. You were just meant to tell us if you couldn't, blah, blah. If you tell anyone, we'll fucking sue you and you'll end up in jail." And it's exactly as Miss Foxification says. If your business is targeted, your chance of surviving that targeting is close to zero. You're basically screwed. Oh yeah, a fluoro vest and a clipboard will get you in it. It's like, I reckon, in virtually every shopping mall in the world, overalls, a trolley, and a clipboard will get you anywhere, and you could just put whatever you want on that trolley and walk out with it. And people will just assume you're meant to be doing it. You act like you're meant to do it, people think you're meant to do it. Heretic, that sounds familiar. Do it the old-fashioned way: kick in the door, blow things up, set off alarms, extended firefight, end up with 5-star wanted level. Yes, I think I've done that. God, speaking of Grand Theft Auto, when I was playing GTA 5, I found this one thing. There was one thing where you were meant to go into a building site and work your way all the way up the top of this crane. And it took, you had to walk up, and it took ages and ages and ages to get right to the highest point on this crane and the building site. And there was a thing you meant to parachute off there. But I went back up there another time, and it took so long. I did an experiment. So there's some high-powered weapons, and there's a blimp that goes over the city. And I shot it down. I thought I shoot it a few times. It's like, you shoot a few times, and it eventually does explode and crash. And sirens go off, and your wanted level goes right up. But because it takes so long for any cop to reach where you are, all your wanted level goes back down to zero before they get to you. So it's like the perfect crime. You're just in this inaccessible point, and you just shoot at anyone and anything, and the cops actually give up before they ever reach you. So I did cause a bit of mayhem from up there, but then aboard. You like that the military doesn't come in to get you, even if you're a jet blowing up cars in the city. Well, there's one bit in GTA 5 where you actually fight because there's a military base. If you go onto the military base, the military will attack you. But yes, you're right. The military don't get involved in it. But there's also a thing under US law about the military is not allowed. The Army Reserve could come in. The actual military is not allowed to get involved in stuff on US soil. Tendai, did I shoot the sheriff but not the deputy? That is in Borderlands 2. That's actually a mission in Borderlands 2 in a mining town. We end up with a mission to kill the sheriff, and you get bonus points if you don't shoot the deputy. There you go. Tara, you said you had a lot of misadventures working for the bank. It was easy to set off the alarms. Every staff ID had 2 states. You're either inside or outside. I haven't played No Man's Sky, Miss Notification, saying they're sentinels designed to attack you on the ground, but if you mount an airborne attack, they can't do anything. Yeah, lots of games have little glitches that you can come up with workarounds to. Yeah, the Heretic. I think in the US, the National Guard will get deployed. Although they did have that special law, like if there's an aviation threat, jets get scrambled. Now I know they do actually have reservists work in the airport, so I don't know if it's reservists from the Air Force. Yeah, I don't know how that works. They maybe passed a special law because there was that incident just on the weekend where some idiot stole a small passenger plane and flew all over the place doing loops and spins and then crashed, and there were jets scrambled for that. And so I'm not sure how they do that. If they passed a special law after the September 11th attack, let the Air Force be scrambled in US airspace, because that was my understanding, that there was something in the Constitution that the armed forces weren't allowed to be deployed on US soil. Like, the armed forces couldn't be used for policing, even extreme policing, but the National Guard can be brought in. I don't know, they have such complex rules regarding different levels of law enforcement in the US. I don't know exactly how it works. But yes, it is a bit of an odd one. I don't know if it, maybe you do get the bill, maybe it's just SWAT, because I do remember getting up to a 5-star wanted in GTA 5. I was on there was a lighthouse on an island, and I started shooting at people, and some cops came. Then a police boat came, and I shot that down. And then helicopters came, and I shot them down. Then bigger helicopters came. Maybe they were SWAT helicopters, not military, but yes, bigger things came and hassled me. Yeah, I think that's the reasoning, misfoxification. The military is only allowed to attack enemies of the US, and US citizens aren't allowed to be viewed that way. It has to be police action, not a military action. So the military can't get involved in police actions unless a state of martial law is declared. But, you know. As a right, Heretic, there were some versions of GTA, if you got 6 stars, the National Guard would show up. But GTA 5 goes to 5 stars. Okay. Charlie, extreme policing sounds like a 90s skateboarding police. I think so. Policing to the extreme. Dara, funny banking stories. Mainframes being powered off for a variety of reasons. Yeah, people, man, I'm old enough to remember situations where, like, people unplugged either mainframes or routers to the internet to plug in a vacuum cleaner or something, because they didn't realize what they were doing. So shut down systems or cut off systems from the outside world by accident. One of the more spectacular ones wasn't a bank, it was a big corporate though. Monday morning, the systems people rock up, and all the fucking mainframes have overheated and sort of melted down. And there's a note pinned to the door, like some dickhead from marketing was in on the weekend, and he's complaining that someone had left all the air conditioning on. That was a massive and environmentally unfriendly, because he didn't know that the computer room needed hardcore air conditioning, or all the mainframes would overheat. And he switched off the air conditioning, and all the mainframes overheated and melted down, and he fucked the entire corporate network because he didn't know that they needed the air conditioning. People do stupid. Cleaner who's just doing her rounds and was unplugging a life support machine to plug a vacuum cleaner in. She didn't know she was unplugging a life support machine, but she was unplugging a life support machine and killing people. Oh, Biori, I remember hearing about the Extreme Teen Bible. Man, all the versions of the Bible that have been written to connect. You know, when I were young and at Catholic school, there was this version came out. It's called Good News for Modern Man, and it was the New Testament rewritten in what was meant to be colloquial English. To try and get ordinary people interested in the Bible. Didn't really work, as far as I remember. There you go. Miss Foxification, you may be right that I need to start doing a fault finding thing in NBN, you know, maybe they'll just social media. Look, for all I know, my daughter's streaming on Switch. She's a gamer in the other room, and Mrs. Angry's watching stuff on Netflix. She's binging Orange is the New Black. Maybe it's just my thing. Bury, maybe I'm thinking something here, but I thought there really was an Extreme Team Bible. Oh, God. Larity, you wish you had funny work stories, but yours are just sad. You had a co-worker throw a pizza at a customer and storm out because he's mental bread. I worked at Pizza Hut when I was at college, and we would occasionally have customers do very weird things. Some people trying to cause us at one point. Scott, I don't know whether he thought he's being clever, is going to have a big lawsuit, but he came in with a pizza, you know, one of our pizzas. He goes, look, this has got maggots on it. And what? And he like lifted up the cheese, and there were actually live maggots under the cheese. And we're like, fuck off, man. He's going, oh no, you're in a big trouble. Okay, no, we're not. Look, hey, show, and we say like a couple of things. Like, first, there's all our food stuff. Show me where the maggots are in any of our food. Second, why is it that you lifted up the cheese and looked under it with it before eating the pizza? Why was that? Because there are no bites out of this. You're lifting it up and going, oh, lucky I looked under the cheese because there's maggots on it. Third, those ovens are 250 degrees. You want to show me how those maggots survived 250 degrees in the oven? Fuck off, man. We know you're faking. He was really upset. Oh, no. I saw that one. I didn't say streaming on Switch. I said on Twitch. Or she might be using the Switch. I don't know. Maybe I said Switch. Yeah. I love that one, Tara. Someone plugged into an access port in the emergency department at Westmead Hospital and killed the emergency computer network. Oh, my God. Oh, we've got McElroy fans in here. Oh, yeah, that WannaCry bug. You're saying the major chip manufacturer is currently down due to WannaCry. They didn't patch. And TSMC makes chips for GPUs, so the entire market's on. Damn, I thought the GPU market was already in trouble because of people buying all the high-powered ones to mine virtual currencies. But yes. I think you're all agreeing that this guy with the maggot story there was a fairly fatal flaw in his story that the maggots under the cheese on his pizza weren't actually cooked, despite going through like a 250-degree oven. But yes. We're saying that effect on TSMC might really affect Apple's iPhones. Oh no, they're about to launch their new phones. Traditionally, they would have the new iPhone next month. Ooh, I wonder. Probably see the NHS had problems with their system crash because they're still using Windows XP in 2015. Yeah, but it's amazing. It's amazing how often big entities use really outdated systems. I remember reading. I was either in the 90s or the early noughties. There was a feature in Wired magazine, and it was some of the big manufacturers in the US, car and a few other manufacturers in the year were still reliant on punch card systems. Not everything they had ran on punch card systems. They had some core operations that were still reliant on punch cards to operate. And, a decade or two after people stopped using punch cards. There were some major manufacturers who couldn't I couldn't be bothered upgrading their systems, so they're still running punch cards. Good God. Phil, a serious question. Friend moved to Victoria for API woman he's seeing. I don't know where there are men's or women's shelters, unfortunately, Phil. That is not my area of expertise. I would, first up, I think I would be talking to a hospital if he needs support, particularly if you're saying the reason he needs support. I mean, if he needs help getting away from his abusive ex, I would go straight to the police, man. Go hard, because that sort of shit is absolutely unacceptable. It's and I have no time for anyone who says that type. And that is a very good point, Miss Foxification. Where the shelters are is not usually public knowledge because they need to be kept secret. But I would absolutely be going straight to the cops because that's the thing with abusers. If they abuse one person, that's probably not the only person they've ever abused. So if I can get the cops right onto someone, that's a pile of bullshit. People thinking they can get away with that sort of shit is what I'm saying. Oh, that's an interesting observation, Tara. Big old IBM mainframes that rely on punch card emulators. They don't actually have punch cards, but they convert text files into an imaginary punch card, and the computer is has to be relatively simple programs, but things like tracking inventory and staff and whatnot, because all punch cards are they're a binary system. It's a series of yes nos. It's filtering stuff with basically yes no questions. I've worked with people who had to uh, organize punch cards for corporate systems, and they were talking about how they would spend an entire day doing it. It'd be like for a payroll run, there'd be one for everyone, and they'd have this stack of thousands of cards that'd be this big, and they were always paranoid that they'd like knock over the pile or drop the set that they'd spent so much time getting up. I was like, oh man, that the whole idea of that does my head in. Hey, Pat, man, how you doing, man? What's that misfoxification? ARFIDs only use the serial number on the chip. That's a thing that sort of faded away, wasn't it? I remember like 5 or 10 years ago, people were talking about the radio frequency ID chips were going to be everywhere. Everything in the world would have an ARFID on it that would track in it, and that never really happened. That never really took off. Oh, the heretic. If I could hang out with one historical figure, who would it be? That's a good question. And now we're assuming there'd be no communication barriers. Um, uh, ooh, wow, that is an interesting question to pose. So it's like, who would I feel like I'd learn something from? I guess. Ooh, man! Now you've really that's a real noodle scratcher. Who would be a good one? I mean, I would like. Okay, here's one. This is a little pet thing of mine. I'd like to hang out with Shakespeare because I'd like to talk to him about his plays and whatnot, and I'd like to finally put to rest the probably completely incorrect idea that Shakespeare didn't write Shakespeare. I'd like to sit down with him, because a mind like his that wrote those amazing plays would be fascinating. So there you go. That would be my point. My historical figure would be Shakespeare for a number of reasons. Misclassification, that's the one. QR codes. There was the moment when QR codes were going to be huge, and they never really took off. I had business cards made for my YouTube channel that had a QR code on it that would lead people to, like the subscribe page on my YouTube channel. Yeah, QR codes never really took off. Oh, that's a twist, Batman. If I could punch a historical figure in the face, who would it be? Probably be someone who's still alive, quite honestly. Trump. I don't know. That's counterproductive and not adding to the public discourse, isn't it? Proper Wolfie, QR codes. QR codes are those elaborate barcodes. Like barcodes are like straight lines of different thicknesses, and the barcode reader sort of reads the white between the lines, and it tells you, like, well, this magazine doesn't have a barcode on it because it's nothing. But yeah, the barcode tells you how much the product costs, that the simple barcode did. Tendai, Cecil Rhodes is at the top of your punch the face list. I don't think I know who Cecil Rhodes is. I feel compelled to look that up now. Why do you want to punch Cecil Rhodes? The name's vaguely familiar. British businessman, mining magnate, and politics in Southern Africa. He served as Prime Minister of the Cape Colony. Ah, all right. So that's around the time of the Boer War, is it? Oh yeah, shelf warmer. John Howard's a good one. Miss Foxification, you think Abbott? Nice. Proper Wolfie. Punch Ronald Reagan. Oh, Heine, you're saying Rhodes scholarships are named after that guy. Oh my God, just reminded me of an awful joke that made me laugh that I saw on the internet. So, like, someone's posed, what dead person would you most like to have sex with? And this guy talked about his dead wife, and he did this really beautiful, like, because you're meant to be saying some historical figure, and he said his wife, he'd give anything for one more night with her, and just did this beautiful lyrical description of their love and how wonderful she was, and if he could spend the night with any dead person in history, it would be his wife. And you go, oh, and then the first comment under that, someone's written, I choose this guy's dead wife too. It's like, oh, fucking hell. There's always one. There is always one. Oh my God, there's always going to do that. Proper Wolfie signing with Charlie for Ronald Reagan. Yeah, Ronald Reagan's grave is a unisex bathroom. Oh my God. I think Miranda Devine was complaining that Facebook was censoring John Howard. I doubt they were. And also, Miranda Devine talks shit like most talking heads in the media, just talks utter shit trying to prove their point or, advocate for their particular cause. Oh no, I'm out of drink. Should I get a drink? Oh my God. Okay, so we're saying Rhodesia was named after Cecil Rhodes. Okay. Right. Yeah, no, that's a dark history then. Yeah. If he's the one who oversaw the creation of apartheid states in Southern Africa, in what became South Africa, Rhodesia became Zimbabwe. Yes, no, that Cecil Rhodes sounds very tainted. Yes, very, very, very dodgy. I think I want to get some ice. I just realized what that sounded like. And maybe put a drink. I've got some lemonade down here. Right. I need some ice. Ah. Okay. I need some ice. Ah. Okay. I'm Brian, and so's my wife. How did we get onto that? Yes, that's the thing with I'm Brian is the opposite of I'm Spartacus. Everyone's trying to sacrifice themselves. They're trying to get out of being crucified. No, I'm Brian, and so is my wife. Yeah. Crucifixion, first door to the left, one cross each. Knock this off the last of my cranberry vodka. Yeah. Oh, it's not that much of it left. I have this neat bottle. I kept this bottle. This bottle had elderflower liqueur in it, and I just kept it because I like the bottle. And I put something else in it, but now it's empty. So I have to do something else with it. No, I could be this in too. Oh, if you haven't drunk spirits in months, you feel great. Good, good. I don't drink to excess. What you're seeing here is about if I'm having a couple of drinks, this is about as much as I have a drink. I have a friend in Rome called Biggest Dickus. He has a wife, you know, Incontinentia buttocks. Yeah, a lot of people, if you're into Monty Python, a lot of people cite, we had this discussion on previous live streams as well. A lot of people cite Life of Brian as their favourite. And in fact, most of the Pythons, I think, say that they think that was the best put together of their movies. But I have a weak spot for the Holy Grail. I really like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Oh, okay, but you drink beer. So I don't drink beer. I mix myself drinks. Ooh, misfoxification. Isophylled vodka and pear. So, what's this taste like? That tastes good. That's cranberry infused vodka with a little bit of brandy. Yeah, proper Wolfie. I've read that Holy Grail was a bit of a mess as a production. Arguments over history. So I'm not surprised that it's not the Python's fondest memory, but as a viewer, I really like the Holy Grail. So today, Trump's Roman name would be full of shiticus. Mm. Yeah, that's right, Laherty. An obscure British comedy series from the 70s still lives around the world. It is a bit surprising. How's that, Charlie? You're on the wine tonight, not goon. Okay, you're a bit quick with the not goon. Makes me think it maybe. Oh, Catherine, the horse cheat Monty Python because they couldn't actually afford horses, so they made it a joke that the knights had a little well, I don't know what they call a squire with the two halves of coconuts. We have ridden far. Oh, you haven't? You haven't got a horse? Two halves of coconuts. You're banging them together. I'm very fond of the non sequiturs in the dialogue in the Monty Python stuff, where one person's trying to make a conversation go this way, and the other person's just going, no, 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 I'm going to go over here. Yeah, probably. I think you're right. The Life of Brian is a more coherent film, better put together. But yeah, I just as a fan, I prefer the Holy Grail. It's kind of funny. Quite a few years later, the last movie they put out, The Meaning of Life, which is just a series of sketches. But like they went really full on with being offensive. It was almost like they'd been overtaken by another generation of comedians, a younger generation of comedians, who were all outrageous and way out there, that were making even old Monty Python look tame. So all the Monty Python crew went, oh, you think we can't be outrageous and offensive? Just watch. And they went for it. Hey, Jason. But yes, I don't know that I've really been into it. Oh, I reckon the best movies I've seen recently. One's directed by Taika Waititi. Films like Hunt for the Wilder People and What We Do in the Shadows, and of course Thor Ragnarok, and one that he produced, which is called The Breaker-Uppers, which I saw long ago, was very funny. And of course they have the new series. It's like a spin-off of What We Do in the Shadows, Wellington Paranormal, the cops from What We Do in the Shadows investigating paranormal activity in Wellington, New Zealand. I tell you what else I've seen that's funny. I'm very bad with pronouncing some names, but the dude from Silicon Valley wrote and directed a film based on his own story of him and his partner called The Big Sick. Is his name Kamal? I pronounce names badly. I'm looking up his name to try and pronounce his surname. Kamal Nanjiani. She's actually, when you look at it, not that hard to pronounce, Nanjiani. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But The Big Sick was a very funny film. And there was an Australian comedy made by Muslim called Ali's Wedding, a bit less well known, but that was really funny too. So worth searching out if you've never seen it, Ali's Wedding. But yeah, I think probably my favorite comedy maker film-wise in the world is definitely Taika Waititi. He's made so many good things. Hey, nobody, how's it going? Toby, how's AIDSy? Not going to look. I'll read you a text message AIDSy sent me when I asked him if he was okay. Where is it? Okay, so I asked him what he was up to, and he said he's making coffee, getting familiar with World War II weapon systems, dealing with 3 health issues, and oh, hey, I'm going to business class for the next 6 weeks at night time, twice a week, focusing on creativity and entrepreneurship, styles and definitions. Jargon, which fuck knows I could use. So yeah, right now, just hitting the research hard. So I said, I just wanted to check you're okay. And he goes, oh, fuck no, not okay. This goes on, but while I'm trapped here eating anti-anxiety pills like they're lollies, I'll just keep doing what I can do to be productive. It's getting so bad I don't want to leave the house, but I have to because my body breaks another spring and I've got to go to the shop and get it repaired. I'll give you a proper call tomorrow when I quit moaning himself. Basically, because he can't really travel on his own at the moment, so I'm hoping to actually bring AIDSy over on a weekend, maybe do a live stream with him. So we'll still try and get him here. So yeah, he's sort of under strain with health things, but soldiering on as he usually does. No, but he is going well. He's just trying to figure out how you managed to catch a beautiful woman. I would say the same thing about myself, my friend. Don't question it too much. Just revel in it, and be good. I was going to make a video about this thing I saw a while ago. I will eventually make it. And I think I talked about this in one of the live streams. We've all heard about the term toxic masculinity, which refers is Not saying that men are toxic. There's a particular really restrictive version of masculinity that hurts men. It says like men can only behave like this. Men can only look like this. Men can only express themselves like this. Men can't have intimate friendships with other men because that's gay. Men can't express emotions because that's weak. Men have to be tough and tough it out and never admit to weakness, never admit to any sort of mental health issues. And stuff that is actually what causes the frighteningly high suicide rate among men. That's toxic masculinity. But I also want to publish something under the name septic masculinity. It's because guys who are so homophobic, they wouldn't wipe their asses properly. They wouldn't clean their ass properly. And someone found this on the subreddit about relationships, like Reddit/r/relationships. These women asking these questions that were horrifying. It's basically these guys won't wipe their ass or wash their ass, so they think going between their butt cheeks is gay. So basically they stink of shit. And one woman was actually saying, like, when she's on top of the guy when they're having sex, when she finished and got off, when he rolled over, he'd actually left a shit stain on the bed. And when these women try to get the men to clean properly, they get really fucking angry, go, no, you don't get down between the cheeks. That's gay. And one of the women finishes the thing with, is this a deal breaker? You know, I fucking hope it is. Actually having sex with a guy who leaves shit stains around. Like, all his undies have huge fucking skid marks on it, but even when he lies on the bed, he leaves a shit stain on the bed. And he just, I mean, you know, I've been with Mrs. Angry for over 13 years. And it's like, well, how do you maintain a long-term relationship? Well, you work at it. But when I read these stories about these women who are having relationships with men who won't even clean their asses, okay, well, gee, maybe I don't have to work as hard as I have been. I mean, because these guys literally don't clean their asses and they're still getting action. So, you know, maybe I could ease off a bit. I don't know. But it's just, these stories were just terrible. It's like, this is the most extreme level of insecure males I'd heard of. Guys who won't wipe their ass or wash between their ass cheeks because that's gay. It's like, what the fuck is going on there? That is so messed up. It's just like, I don't know how people like that can function. I don't know how they haven't contracted some infection that killed them. It's so hard for me to process someone being that fucked up. Like, it is bad enough when someone goes, oh, you know, you can't express emotions, that's gay. You know, you can't hug another man, that's gay. But literally, like, I can't clean my own ass because that's gay. It's like, what the fuck? That's the big question, Miss Foxification. Does he masturbate because he's touching a dick? He does that. That's super gay. So, honey, a woman called Sydney Watson is in the alt-right news now. She's a talented singer, piano player. That name sounds vaguely familiar. There's another one I want to look up. Oh, she's a conservative Australian. Okay. Oh, right. Oh, she's the one running Australia's Men's Rights March. Right. Okay. Yeah, it's just like, man, if that's your ideology, fucking fine. Whatever. Hey, Game of Frost, how's it going, man? Dude, you bunged your elbow. What's that all about? What did you do to yourself? I'm feeling good because I've been to the physio. Look, I can reach all the way over here, which a couple of weeks ago I could get to about here. Sorry, Charlie. Just made me laugh. All these homophobic guys, but you still get all these guys saying they'd suck their own dick if they could. I remember in high school, guys making that joke. Like, oh, yeah, I'll suck my own dick if I could. I saw that in a porno. And they're like, what? No, I actually saw a porno. The guy, he had a big enough dick, he could suck his own dick. And they were like, no, now I'm grossed out. Why did you tell me that? I was just trying to make a joke. Dude, you said you wanted to. I said, I've seen it done. It's like, no, now I just feel bad. So it's funny what people will say, but yeah, when the prospect is made real, they're kind of like, okay. So it's, I don't know, is sucking your own dick, is that like trying to tickle yourself? I don't know. Does it work? We always get into discussions like this in these live streams. It's unavoidable. People say, what do you talk about in the live streams? Like, well, kind of everything. It goes on all these tangents and it always ends up in really dubious places. They're already got you germophobic to do that. Oh dear. No, but you say you've never actually looked down at your dick and thought about putting your mouth. It was this was reaction. It's a big question. Is sucking your own dick like trying to tickle yourself? I don't know if it'd work. I don't know. Guys masturbate, so I guess it would work. And why did I say guys masturbate? Everyone masturbates. Game Frost, what? Your elbow's been fucked for 2 years. You might need surgery. No, dude, I bet, yeah, that's farm work, man. As everyone, you can work hard, physical labor. Yeah, you're going to fuck something up. Okay, now we're going to talk about freaky porn we've watched. You're saying you saw a one where a guy popped his ball into his bum. I've heard of that. I haven't seen that. There was a notorious one like from way back in the 80s of a guy who could tie his dick in a knot. I've seen pictures of that. It's like, well, yeah, I think the comment about yoga is a big bit. It's not just about having a big dick. It's about flexibility as well. Okay, Le Heretic. No, I have not heard that one. Warrior monks who suck their testicles inside their bums so no one can attack them. That is literally the first time I've heard that. And in all seriousness, I could have possibly happily existed my entire life without having to contemplate that. Oh, yes, Charlie, good old puppetry of the penis. Is there anyone who hasn't heard of that? That was a big thing. It was started in Australia like, what was it, 10 or 20 years ago? These guys who just do things with stretch their penis and scrotum in various shapes to, it's like origami almost. They call it puppetry, but it's almost like origami. They make shapes and stuff. It's like, oh dear. Oh, gamer, it's a complication from hemophilia. Fuck, man, that's rough. That's, yeah. No, it's like any sort of chronic illness will have all sorts of complications. Like when AZ got rheumatoid arthritis, fucked up all his joints. Yeah, no, dude, I feel for you, man. Chronic illness sucks. And I'm lucky enough to not really have any chronic illnesses. But man, any collabs coming up? I did post the one on the weekend. I was together with a bunch of YouTubers a week or so back, and I had a gorilla costume and a banana costume. So made a video of the gorilla chasing the banana, and that was a lot of fun. And that has a bunch of the local YouTube gang in it for fun. And in fact, I have a bit more extra footage of that to make another video. And I might take it to our next meetup again because I have some ideas for a couple more videos. But VidCon's coming up at the end of the month in Melbourne, so that's kind of big. It's probably, we've already been going an hour and a half. Time flies when you're having truly bizarre conversations. But VidCon's going to be cool at the end of the month. Yeah, Shelf Warmer, Dangerously Talented was in the video. A whole bunch of people. Aggro Pixie, you did agree to be the banana. You did. You just did. Although you believed that you did when I told you. I'm sure you said you'd be the banana. But you were the banana. Anyway, Aggro Pixie was the banana. Now the Fred was the gorilla, and all the other YouTubers were used in various scenes of the gorilla and the banana. I think you agreed to be the banana, Amy, but once I committed to it and you're going, did I? I was, no, you did. You definitely did. You definitely said you'd be the banana. So, yes, that was a bit of fun. Just because it's always fun to just hang out with YouTubers, but it's an additional layer of fun if we do something together. So I was really glad to do that and get everyone involved in that video. But another time I want to do some more. Oh, damn. Anyway, Game Frost, man, I hope, whether it's surgery or some other medical intervention, I hope there is some stuff done to help your elbow. Because, yeah, having fucked up joints sucks, man. Proper Wolfie. VidCon looks like your idea of hell. I really enjoyed VidCon last year. But I guess a big part of that is because, you know, I've had YouTube friends for so long and so many of them were interstate. And so I was getting to catch up with a bunch of them that I hadn't seen in ages. And it was super good. But I actually do completely empathize. If going to a big crowd of people in a convention type thing is not your thing, I completely understand what you're saying. If it looks like your definition fell, but I quite enjoyed it. I like hanging out with YouTube friends and doing YouTube shenanigans. I might wear my outlandish jumpsuit again this year. It was a bit of a hit when I wore it last year. What's we doing? Oh, yes, I saw that Miss Foxification. In the annual rankings of world's most livable city, Vienna actually passed Melbourne. Melbourne had won it quite a few years in a row, but this year Vienna was higher rated. And good on Vienna. I mean, it's a weird thing. I can't believe people get into tears about it. But yes, well, good on Vienna, I guess. I haven't looked into the details as to why Vienna was higher. I had a wild guess. I bet it's cheaper to live in Vienna than it is in Melbourne. Melbourne is quite expensive to live in. The Heretic, I've heard the story of Yasuke. He was an African samurai served as one of Oda Nobunaga's most trusted warriors. I feel like I've heard the name. I don't really know the detail, but I feel like I've heard that story. An African samurai served as one of Oda Nobunaga's most trusted warriors. All right, savings fortification, the stability for Melbourne. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting if you say Melbourne, Sydney, and Adelaide are all in the top 10. I do think lifestyle in Australia is to be envied, basically. Okay, Game of Frost, you can't drink, you do payments. Okay, I'll have one for you, man. Look after yourself. You're saying Vienna has a low crime rate? Nice. Nice. Oh, Lara, did you say Yusuke as the samurai that Afro Samurai is loosely based on? Yes. Well, Afro Samurai is only loosely based in reality. Probably you like hearing Australians talk about Brisbane. Brisbane's just a big country town. Oh, this Foxification, you're not wrong. Melbourne is very expensive. When I moved here 20 years ago, and Melbourne was noticeably cheaper than Sydney 20 years ago, but real estate in Melbourne has accelerated more than Sydney in that time period. So it's basically as expensive to live in Melbourne as it is in Sydney. Just Melbourne's easier to get around in than Sydney. Melbourne's a bit less stressful than Sydney, I think. But yeah. Sorry, that's harsh, Charlie. People who come to Brisbane from elsewhere won't shut up about how shit Brisbane is. That's harsh. I have a sister who lives in Brisbane and a few other family members. Oh no, my brother's up there, I think. A few family members have lived up there from time to time. Jay, you're in Mildura. You don't like Mildura? See, I grew up in the country, man, so I can empathise. I don't think I could really live in the country after growing up in the country. Just not for me. Oh, the heretic, you live in Barstow. And other people say Barstow's shit, but you love it. Oh, dear. Yeah, it's good. The man's good if you like where you live. You don't listen to other people say shit. If you like it, that's all's good. Oh, Charlie, we're back to tattoos of the Forex man in Brisbane. That is a bit sad. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind Brisbane, but it is just a big country town. I lived in Sydney for 10 years and really liked it, but I've never considered for a second moving back to Sydney after I moved to Melbourne. Yeah. Oh, Celtic King tested, said hi, and he loves me. That's nice. We all love him too. Ah, Charlie, you got to move to Harvey Bay. I've heard Harvey Bay is quite nice, actually. Yeah. I mean, because I grew up in country, and about half my family still live in Dubbo, and I've got like two in Brisbane, one in Canberra, one in Bathurst, which is another country town, uh, and me in Melbourne. I'm the only one in a really big city. Nobody found Sydney hostile. Sydney is hostile, man. Sydney is hostile. Jay, you think there's nothing to do in Mildura? Man, I agree. That was my problem with the country town. Nothing to do. But I think it's fair how they treat backpackers for the second year visa. I'm not sure. How do they treat backpackers for a second year visa? I'm not sure exactly what that would be. No, look, you weren't Sydney hostile. I reckon the big difference between like traffic in Sydney and Melbourne, it's both a bit frantic. But if someone almost kills you in traffic in Sydney, it's probably because they were trying to kill you because they're really angry. If someone almost kills you in traffic in Melbourne, it's probably because they're a fucking idiot and they've just sailed through a red light or a give way sign because they go, no one wants to hit me, I'll just go through. Whereas in Sydney, I think they're actively trying to kill you. Where in Melbourne, if they do something like that, it's just because they're really fucking stupid. Yeah, see, probably it's everyone has their own thing. Lots of people live in the country would never live in a big city. Lots of people who live in big cities would never live in the country. I grew up in the country. Now I see. I don't think I could live in the country anymore. Oh, right, Jay. No, I think the fruit pickers do get treated really badly. They're like one step above slave labor, basically. And there are all these freaky stories about them being exploited and abused by the people who own the properties. Um, But yeah, hey, that's capitalism, basically. Capitalism. Miss Foxication, you live in Darwin. Oh, man, I don't know that I could survive the heat and humidity for extended periods in Darwin. I have visited Darwin. I had a holiday. I stayed in Darwin for a month once. Beautiful part of the world. Beautiful part of the world. The humidity's a bit much, but you're so close to so many amazing parts of Australia. It is a fairly amazing area, but I don't know. I think the heat and humidity would get to yes. You get used to it. You think it's cold under 20 Celsius. I have seen those stories. Yeah, that everyone in Darwin freaks out if the maximum's under 20. We're just getting back to the stage where our maximum's just barely reaching 20. Slowly moving into spring and then summer, where I expect, when having seen the brutal record-breaking heat waves in the northern hemisphere, it's probably what we're going to cop this summer as well. Summer's probably going to be really harsh. Toby, what do I prefer, capitalism or communism? I think either system, left, run, riot, plays to vested interests and hurts people. Crony capitalism, as we see in the world today, is unnecessarily hurting millions of people to the benefit of a tiny, tiny, tiny handful of people. It's just basically a criminal system at the moment. I guess I favour a system that has limits and constraints on what oligarchs can do, and we've seen both capitalism and communism just favour an entrenched power group, and it's all kind of bullshit. As you say, I'm anchor. No, I really dislike that mob who called them selves. The only political group I've ever liked associating with were anarchists, the narco-syndicalists, but not these fuckheads who come on with their version of, anarcho-capitalism. Fuck that. Capitalism isn't anarchism. Capitalism is brutal, hierarchical shit. Oh my god, Charlie, what's that? The urukanji, that's the jellyfish, right? The incredibly deadly jellyfish. They're moving further and further. Yeah, if the water gets warmer further south, those fucking deadly jellyfish are going to move further south. I mean, look at the tropical north of Australia. There's only about 1 month of a year when these deadly jellyfish aren't a constant threat. But yeah, with climate change and warmer water moving south, the deadly jellyfish will move further south. Okay, Toby, see you later. Tell CK we all love him too. Bye. Mofo's on. You heard us talking politics, and that's your bag. What type of democracy? Yes. Well, if I could pick the flaws in Western democracies, you'd look at when the US is particularly corrupt with gerrymandering, and the candidate with the most money winning over 90% of the time. I don't think Australia's system is as corrupted, in fact, nowhere near as corrupted as the US system. The US political system is so fucking corrupt. It's like amazing. I love that laertic. Anarcho-capitalism, laissez-faire capitalism. Brand new idea. It's only been around since the Middle Ages. Yes, I agree with you. Those guys really piss me off when they talk about there being an anarcho element to their stuff. It's just being like, uh, what they really mean is we just want to be assholes to everyone and never suffer any repercussions whatsoever. Oh, I like that. This foxification we've caught Americancer. Look, the fucking Tories in this country are doing their best to corrupt our system and make it more like the American system, which is fucking ugly, 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 ugly stuff. And it's something we need to fight against. But yeah, I worry that the fucking US system has been corrupted to the point that it can't be reclaimed. So probably, if you want to know how unbelievably corrupt the US political system is, read Debt, The First 5,000 Years by David Graeber. Eye-opening. Oh, yeah, that was a nice touch, wasn't it, Miss Foxification? The fucking government saying, I think we should become an arms exporter. Like, what? The fuck? Yeah, let's make stuff that kills people. That would be awesome. Like, my first one is the ANCAP utopia a cyberpunk dystopia? Pretty much. I love the joke someone made about the Christian Bale Batman movie with Bane in it. That was just The Dark Knight, wasn't it? I forget how soon we forget. The last Christian Bale Batman movie where Bane took over Gotham. So I was saying, like, well, why weren't all these Reddit libertarians flocking to Gotham when Bane turned it into exactly what they say they want? Why did it look such a brutal hellhole with thugs running everything? Who knew that an unrestrained system just meant that the most brutal, violent people would take control? But yes, the Dark Knight was what these narco-capitalists say they want. Most of them wouldn't last a day. Okay, you think an ANCAP utopia is like Judge Dredd's world, except the judges have no authority because they're private courts. Criminals control the cities. I love the Judge Dredd world. I used to get the 2000 AD comics back in the 80s and 90s. And they used to have a lot of fun exploring the idea of this totalitarian city always on the edge of collapsing, and only the sort of fascistic control of the judges just barely holding everything together. Um, uh, yeah, and they told some very interesting stories. And the recent Dread movie, the very underrated movie with what's his name from New Zealand playing Judge Dredd, was very good. They ever since that thing was sort of like hardcore fans and critics really like the Dread movie. That's it, Carl Urban. Thank you. I just blanked on him for a second. But there's been talk for a while now that there's a TV series in development. That would be nice to see. Nobody, you got to go. I'm going to be going in 5 minutes too. Charlie, yes, the Stallone movie is indeed dumb. I guess you can have fun with it, but yeah, it's kind of dumb and stupid. But the Carl Urban Dread movie, I really like. It's really underrated. And Carl Urban is a very good Dread. Never takes you George Goody. Scowl, talk out of the corner of your mouth. What are you doing? Thanks for leaving a like, nobody. You're right, Prop Wolfie. The Stallone movie would be better if Rob Schneider wasn't in it. That is a true thing. Oh, Tendai, there are definitely a lot of stories to tell from the Dread universe. I mean, comics been running for 40 years. So, but even just the 2000 AD storylines, I mean, well, the only things we've seen a movie of is like Judge Dredd. You know, there are so many amazing stories, dozens of amazing stories that had great art, and I can't understand why they haven't been made into movie. Although there's a rumor that there's a Rogue Trooper movie in development. Rogue Trooper is one of the big stories from the 2000 AD world. A genetically modified soldier in a never-ending future war. I think if I was going to rattle off, you know, a dozen things that should get made from 2000 AD: Rogue Trooper, Strontium Dog, ABC Warriors, Nemesis the Warlock, Halo Jones. What else is there? Zenith. Uh, Devlin War. That's my personal one of my personal favorites. Tom Hardy should play Devlin War. Devlin War is this steroid abusing uh, exorcist who works, and he's in Judge Dredd's universe. He works for the Vatican, and he's he's like an English gentleman who's a steroid abuser and camp as hell. And Tom Hardy would be the perfect person to play him in my book. I think Tom Hardy would really enjoy being Devlin War. The first Devlin War story is called Swimming in Blood. There's a maximum security prison, Judge Dredd's world, that's actually underwater. So like it's impossible to escape from. So even if you escape, you're under the ocean, so there's nowhere to escape to. And a prisoner who's infected with vampirism gets put in this prison, which they call Aquatraz. And so vampirism breaks out in the prisoner, and the Vatican exorcist Devlin War gets brought in to sort shit out. And it's an interesting and horrifying and very funny story. And I'd love to see it. It's 10 p.m. Look, we're buffering. So I'm going to go. Thank all you wonderful people. We're having another internet problem, so I'm going to go now. Thank you for dropping by. I'll come back some other time. And I'll make a video or two pre-recorded this week as well. So you'll look after yourselves. You're all fantastic people. I hope you have a good week, and I'll look at seeing you again soon. Bye now.